Welcome back to Embodiment and Resourcing. So today I'm going to just say, I'm going to repeat what I say to the live group, and that is always take this practice at whatever level feels right for you. So it's really important to be aware of what you're feeling in your body. If I invite you to move a certain way, or I'm demonstrating something and you don't think it's working for you, it's so important to listen to your body. And just adjust or modify what I'm doing. And it's okay to also just sit out and watch. Let's start with our practice of tuning into 3 centers. I'm going to do it sitting today. So just sitting with hands over my lower abdomen and tuning into my physical body, asking myself, how am I today as a physical being? What am I noticing right now in my body? Practicing the skill of observing without judgment, directly experiencing the sensations that we notice. Over time, we get more of a sense of our baseline. One practice at a time, strung together like pearls on a string. Developing this sense of continuity, of connection. Reversing all the conditioning to make our bodies do things, to expect our bodies to perform in certain ways, look certain ways, and even being unconscious of our bodies. Just reversing all of that and simply being aware of our bodies is kind of a radical act. Especially when you bring in gentleness, kindness, curiosity. Bringing that same quality of attention now up into the heart area, your emotional being, feeling tone, mood. Sometimes it's loud, particular emotions jump out at us. Other times it's more subtle. How am I today as an emotional being? Even if thoughts come in, just allowing those as well. Our emotional being kind of overlaps between body sensations and mental recognition. And then bringing our awareness to our mind, our head, the seat of the mind. How is my mental state right now? What's the quality of my thinking? Is it fast, slow? Am I open-minded? Am I running different looping thoughts? Again, just noticing what we notice, the compassion. And then gently opening your awareness out, away from the body, encompassing the whole body, but also expanding out into the universe and gently opening your eyes. Just taking a nice, gentle transition to standing in your own time. So today we're going to work with the theme of the brain, two different hemispheres of the brain, left hemisphere and right hemisphere. And I'll just say a few words about that as you transition to standing and finding a way to stand that feels comfortable to you. So our brains, interestingly enough, have these two very distinctly different hemispheres, right hemisphere and left hemisphere. A lot of times in our culture, especially in our modern lifestyle, we are encouraged, our whole systems around us, our ways of relating, really engage the left hemisphere, our rational mind, our strategizing mind, the thinking mind, the mind that's planning, the mind that's linear, the mind that's goal-oriented, competitive. All of that has value. It has obviously, we've got a lot of things we need to do in life, that those are very important capacities and abilities. But a lot of times in our culture, our life is way overweighted in the left hemisphere. Right hemisphere, more creative, more feeling oriented, intuitive, open to the bigger picture, artistic oriented. So we have these two very different, they seem very different. They actually do relate to each other. They're never really disconnected. We're going to do some movement to encourage a little bit more of a balancing and an interaction between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. This is more about expanding our capacity to embody more of who we are. So let's simply start. This is a very simple movement. Bring both hands up in front of your center, in front of your body. And we're just going to do a circling movement, both hands together, circling in front of the body. So I'm going to turn to the side so you can just see my arms are fairly close to my body. And it might be kind of like I'm wiping a window or something. I'm just circling my arms around, going in one direction, letting them be together, unified. Both arms unified. Just noticing how that feels. You're always welcome to play with the speed. You can go fast, you can go slow. You can also make it very small if your arms feel a little bit tired. They don't want to do a big movement. And then we're going to go in the opposite direction. Simply pause and then reverse, go in the opposite direction. We're simply crossing the midline of the body. So there's a midline between the right hemisphere of the brain and the left hemisphere of the brain. And that kind of echoes out through our whole body. So we're just communicating with our mind, our brain. And we're touching in with this whole range of connection between both sides. Now we're going to let the arms come down and rest for a few moments. Maybe shake out your arms. Pause for a moment. And then we're going to start to do a little marching in place, nice and slow. So stepping on one foot, lift the other knee, and then switch back, just side to side, very simple. It just looks like this. Maybe even speed it up for a few moments just to kind of find a rhythm that feels good to you. You don't even have to lift your whole knee up off the floor. And now I'm going to slow it down a little bit. We're going to add one more element. We're going to bring one arm across and touch the opposite knee. We're just going to keep alternating. So you probably slow down quite a bit. Lift the knee, touch it with the opposite hand, and just continue doing that. You can play with how fast you go, how slow you go. And breathing, I like breathing while I do this. I'm getting some energy moving, so I need to breathe a little bit more. You might lift the knee higher if you feel a little bit more fit. If you feel a little bit more tired, you can just leave, you can bend down a little bit and do it like this. Always finding the modification that just fits for you today. Do a few more of these. You can always stop when you feel done. If I'm going longer than you want to go, you can just pause, wait. And now letting that slow down, letting go. Again, resting for a few moments in a neutral standing posture. I feel my heart pounding a little bit more. I got some energy moving. We're going to do a couple more patterns. And in this case, if you feel like you've got enough, you can just pause and wait. If you want to try a couple more patterns with me, these are all about connecting, speaking to the brain with movement patterns. So this next one we're going to do is to bring both hands up again, right in front of the body. This time, split them apart. Then we're going to take the arms, both arms go away from each other, up and over, crisscross in front and come down. So now we're doing 2 circles, but the arms are doing kind of a mirror image of each other, and they're crisscrossing in front of the body. It's fine. Any speed you want to take this. You can make really small circles. You can make bigger ones. So again, just playing with the size of circle that feels good to you. Notice that we're crossing the midline of the body. We're also adding a more complex element of, even though both arms are essentially doing the same movement, but they're mirroring each other this time. And you might notice one arm can be in front of the other, and you can alternate that if you feel like it. Really doesn't matter. Okay, now we're going to pause at the bottom, and we're going to go the opposite way. Now out, upwards, out to the side, down and cross in front. Similar movement, but kind of going in the opposite direction. I find it helpful to breathe a little bit deeper. Some people don't like to mess with their breathing. Just letting the breath be normal, natural is totally fine. And we're going to do one more thing. Let's just pause now, shake out the arms. We're going to do one more. This time, this is another level of complexity. And again, if you don't want to do it, or if it's a little discombobulating, that's okay. We're going to do one arm around and then the other arm around. So we're going to do kind of like, I don't know if it's a windmill. So they're both still circling, but they're crisscrossing and they're not doing it in unison anymore. So again, I'm going to play with different sizes. I can do fairly small sizes right in front and do bigger ones. The arm, the wrists and the fingers, they can be relaxed. Just getting that pattern going and playing with it, noticing how it feels. We can also reverse it and go in the opposite direction. And then whenever you feel like you've had enough, if your arms start to feel tired, you can let it wind down and come back to center. And let the arms relax, shake arms out a little bit. And then let's just do some whole body shaking. Sometimes when we're doing more complex movement, we can develop some tension in the body. So we're focusing, we're trying to do it right. And we can just kind of let all that go now. And then let's finish by putting hands on the heart, relaxing for a few moments of stillness, letting our awareness stay present in the body. Notice what you feel. Sometimes it's nice to finish a practice by thinking of something that you're grateful for. So if you feel like doing that, this is a good time to bring in that element of emotional energy or appreciation energy. Let it be infused in your body, in your awareness. Letting that energy spread out into the world. What a wonderful thing that we can connect with our own energy of gratitude, of appreciation, and let it radiate out into the world like a gift. Then we'll close the practice there. Thank you.